specifically help home health aid agencies deliver quality service for their clients, and to also help prevent the possibility of fraud from occurring when these services are delivered. So what we'll look at is some of the high level features of the product, and look to see how this product would actually function. So I'm logged in today as an administrator. However, I can also choose to log in as a client or as a health aide. Obviously, with different logged in as different types of users will restrict the accessibility of that I would have to the product. So now, as an administrator, I can click to see all the clients that are registered on my site. So here I see the list of clients that's available. I can choose a particular client and edit details of the client if I choose to do so. So let's say, for example, for this given client, I decide to change his address from 1 to 2 and hit save. Now this then now updates his address to 2 Main Street. Similarly, I can look at the details of the health aides that I have registered on my site. So here I have the listing of all health aides. I can choose to edit the details of a health aide. I can delete a health aide if I choose to do so, and I can also create a new health aide if I choose to do so. So let me make some edits to this particular health aide. Let me change his address to 5th Avenue, hit save, and now he's been updated. So now, similarly, I can also view the visits that are registered that have been registered on my site. This view here gives me the listing of all visits. I can choose to filter it down to only specific types of visits, like visits that haven't been done or visits that have been completed. So let's pick a visit that hasn't been completed. For example, this particular visit here by Olivedo, for client Olivedo. So if I look at the details of this visit, it tells me that client Olivedo has a visit scheduled by health aide Kramer, which is supposed to take place at 3/28/2014, which obviously didn't take place. So this is a good tool for us to be able to figure out if a scheduled visit actually did take place, and if not, why. So let's look at a visit that actually did take place. So let's take this particular visit here by Seinfeld to Lee, and that happened on 5/14. So let's look at the details of that visit. So this visit was scheduled for Seinfeld to visit Lee. It's supposed to happen at 5:14. It actually happened at 5:15. It took place at 11:36. That's when the visit started. During the visit, Seinfeld administered medicine for Lee at 11:37, and then he left at also at 11:37. Now these two icons here allow us to see the actual location in which the health aide was when the visit started, and when specific tasks associated with the visit was executed. We'll see more of that very soon. Let's create a visit of our own. So let's create a visit for Seinfeld. Let's pick a client. So let's pick Shkabritko. Let's pick a time. So let's select today's date. So let's say the visit has to be today, and let's create this task. So now we've created this task for a visit by Seinfeld by Shkabritko for today. Now let's let's now assign a specific task for this given visit. So we'll go onto the visit task screen. This gives us a list of all tasks that have been created and assigned to specific visits. Let's create a new one. So we'll pick this particular task, which is the latest task that we created, and for the task we'll say make dinner. So that's the task for this particular visit. So now here we can see that for client Shkabritko, there's a task associated for his visit, which is to make dinner. So now let's go back again to the list of visits that we have, and let's assume that I'm now signed on as health aide Seinfeld. As Seinfeld, I can look at all the visits that are assigned to me. So I noticed that there is a visit today for Shkabritko. Let's take a look at the details of this visit, and I noticed that I'm supposed to be there at 5 today, and that I'm supposed to make dinner for him. So now I travel to his location, and once I get to his location, I click on my edit screen, and I'm ready to begin my visit. What I do is I click on this particular button here, and this now records the time in which the visit actually started. It also, behind the scenes, captures the GPS location of where I was when I actually started the visit. So one of the requirements of this particular task is for me to make dinner. So let's assume I go ahead and make dinner for the person. Now once I'm done with making dinner, I can now, or once I feel like I've accomplished this task, I can then now click on this particular box here. This will then record the time in which I completed the particular task, and also captures the GPS location in which where I was when that particular task was completed. So if I go click on here, this tells me that I completed my task at 12:03 and 13 seconds. Also, it records the GPS location in which I was when the task was completed. Similarly, I can execute other tasks, and once I'm done with the rest of the task, I can click on this particular button here that will then record the end time in which when I was ready to leave the client's location, and also the GPS location at which I was when I left the client's location. So I'm going to click on this, and this tells me that I left at 12:03 and 45 seconds. Also, the GPS location at which I was when I left would be captured. I click on save, and now I'm back to my main screen, and this now shows me the list of remaining visits I have to perform. So I can go ahead and perform the rest of my visits that have been scheduled for me for today. Now similarly, the client or the person who created the visit and the task can get an update if he or she chooses to do so when the visit has been completed or updated. Now this update can come via email or via text. Now, so for example, let's assume that I'm the client's caregiver and I created the visit, and now I get an update. So what I can do is I can click on that particular visit, so which is this one here, and I can see that the visit started at 12:03. Dinner was made at 12:03. Visit started at 12:02. Dinner was made at 12:03, and he left at 12:03. Now I can choose to look at the location he was at when he started the visit. So this tells me that he was at 447 Broadway when the visit started. I can click on this particular icon that tells me the location that he was at when he made dinner, and this tells me that he was indeed at 447 Broadway, the same place he was when he started. So through this, I'm able to validate that he actually did execute the visit, the time and the location in which he was when he started the visit, when he accomplished each of the tasks associated with the visit, and when he left the place. So thank you for your time and your patience. I can also look at the fact that that the task end time, or he did administer medicine, and that he finished administering medicine at 11:47 56, and the location he was at when he actually administered the medicine